Some big news from the NFL. Dallas Cowboys and cornerback DaRon Bland have agreed to a 4-year extension worth $92 million. That is now, according to multiple reports. The deal includes $50 million of that guaranteed. That now makes him the 5th highest paid corner in the NFL by average annual value. Bland entering the 4th season in Dallas. He did miss a lot of last season dealing with a foot injury after an all-pro campaign back in 2023. Here's more from Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer.
Well, I think number one, I'm so happy for him, and just the way he's worked and shot onto the scene a couple years ago and just kind of came in and made an immediate impact as a rookie playing nickel and doing things like that, and then to see him a couple years after that with all the pick sixes, and just I'm so happy for him and his family. He's a dad now, which I think is great, and I talked to him about it, and just he's such a humble young man, but so well deserved, and again, just one of those guys that you love him as a teammate, you love him as a competitor. Doesn't say much, but man, he gives you everything he's got, and I'm thrilled for him and his family, and just very well deserved.
Let's welcome in Cowboys expert Garrett Podell here. So this is not necessarily just about this deal getting done for DaRon Bland, because it is coming on the heels of Micah Parsons getting traded. And you were telling me this is Jerry Jones sending a message. What is that message?
Hey, Amanda, long time no see. We're back at it again. It's been a fun weekend here together. But yes, I do believe this is Jerry Jones sending a message, because I go back to 2019 when running back Ezekiel Elliott, fresh off leading the league in rushing a couple times in his first 3 years, he was holding out for a contract, not all too dissimilar from what Micah Parsons was just doing. Now, Micah Parsons was a hold in. He was physically at the start. Zeke went to Cabo and said, I'm going to train on my own, and you guys need me. I hope you pay me. And Jerry Jones, in August of 2019, he gave linebacker Jalen Smith a $68.4 million contract as kind of to show, hey, Zeke, if you play nice, I'll pay you. He eventually caved and did pay Elliott a 6-year, $90 million deal in September, just days before week 1 of that season. But the timing of this deal coming just days after Micah Parsons was traded to the Green Bay Packers on Thursday, to me, Amanda, not a coincidence.
So let me ask you this. How do you think Cowboys fans, I mean, it's early. There's already some remarks on social media. How do you think they're going to take this? Like, obviously, I'm sure they're pleased for DaRon as a person, but coming off the Micah trade, how are they going to receive this news?
Well, for the many Cowboys fans who wanted Micah Parsons, who statistically is best pass rusher in football since he entered the league, 12 plus sacks in all 4 of his first 4 seasons, you could imagine probably a little annoyed, because the Cowboys had the money to get a deal done with Micah. When we last spoke, Amanda, I kind of broke down because Micah directly engaged with Jerry on numbers and then said, actually, we now have to run this all back to my agent to get this done. Jerry kind of took that personally, like, I put in all this work to get this negotiation done, but that wasn't enough. So then it ends up with a divorce. I think it's going to be mixed emotions, because they needed to re-sign DaRon Bland. That was very clear. The cornerback depth to start this season is not very strong. Trayvon Diggs, Brian Schottenheimer said today in his press conference, he's working his butt off to get back from his knee injury, but it's uncertain if he'll play week 1. When I spoke to Diggs amongst a group of 4 other reporters after their preseason finale, when asked if he could play week 1, Diggs said, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure right now. So Diggs' availability very much up in the air. Bland was someone you needed to have out there, and I think paying him is going to be really important. I spoke to Schottenheimer and asked him, do you feel like this contract was necessary to get done before the season? Because now Bland will be comfortable maybe going back inside to nickel, because if you look at the contract values, outside corners are the ones who really get paid. And Schottenheimer, of course, said no. DaRon's a competitor. He's always going to be versatile and go inside if we ask him to do that. But I think that this was really important for them to get done with Bland. So now Bland's like, yep, I got paid. I'll go inside and battle in the slot going forward here, starting with week 1 against Philadelphia.
So without Micah there, I think they had like $40 million to move around with under the cap.
Yes.
They got this done. Is there anybody else who might be next?
Absolutely, Amanda. Brian Schottenheimer mentioned it in his press conference today. 2-time Pro Bowl left guard Tyler Smith. He's 3 seasons in. He's now eligible for an extension. And he's somebody who he wasn't named at one of the 6 captains today, but Schottenheimer said he was one of the guys right up there receiving votes. And he's now kind of the leader of the offensive line, with Zach Martin retiring this offseason and former longtime Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith, who spent his last year with the Jets, retiring this offseason. So he's a big piece of Dallas's future and someone that Schottenheimer said is immensely talented and hopes gets done next.
All right, Garrett, as you said, it has been not a long time since we talked. I'm sure we'll talk again soon with something else coming down the pipe. However, we'll let you go for now. The Cowboys, by the way, getting ready for their season opener against the Eagles. It is Thursday night. The Eagles are favored by 7.5 at that game at the Link. Tickets, very expensive to get into the game. You can't get in for less than about $500.